Good morning guys, my name is Chris Haley from Train Hard Dive Easy, and today we're going to look at the new MAVIC Air 2. So a few things I just want to quickly touch on before we get into this is etiquette and drones when we're actually at the crag. Now drones are a controversial topic for climbers because they do make a bit of noise, they can disturb people. So when you're out at the crag, if you do have a drone and you're using it to film yourself en routes, do exactly that. Use the drone to film yourself. Don't fly it around the crag taking videos of other people or other climbers or going near other climbers on routes. Just stick to your own sort of filming or your own taking photos and use a drone for yourself unless you have strict permission from them guys or girls around the crag that are happy for you to have the drone out. One of the ways I love to get around this is to either get up super early in the morning and get to the crag, or I go around and ask everybody and offer to take photos or videos and send them to climbers of the drone footage. I think most people do love to see photos and videos of them on climbs. So if you offer this to other climbers, maybe they'll be happy for you to flick the drone up and fly it around. Also, always fly the drones by your local laws and regulations. In New Zealand, we fly by 101 CAA regulations, so make sure you look them up. Make sure you log all of your flights as well. In New Zealand, we have this great app called AirShare. It shows you where you can, where you can't fly drones, gives you numbers of people to get permission of and stuff like that. And I think that's enough about the rules of drones. Should we roll the B-roll? Let's do it. enjoyed the B-roll, guys. So I've had the new Mavic Air 2 that was sent to me by DJI a couple of months ago, probably about 6 weeks ago now. First 2 weeks we were in lockdown, so I didn't get to use it that much, just local flights and things. However, over the last month I've been taking this to the crag. I've been getting lots of climbing footage, as you've seen in the video, and trying to push it to its absolute limits and test out every function of what it can do and how this thing can help me to film my climbs. First thing I want to touch on is the incredible footage. So shoots 4K in 60 frames per second. What does that mean? Well, most drones out there will only shoot 4K in 30 frames per second, meaning you can't really slow that footage down. So one of my big plans with this is to send it up and film cruxes of climbs where I'm maybe doing a really big move or a dyno or something in 60 frames per second, to be able to slow that down to see how it looks. Also, when I'm taking this out and I'm filming for my diving side of my channel, I'm filming boats and things like that, you can slow them boats down and get that really nice cinematic footage. I've been using the Mavic Pro for the last 18 months, and amazing drone, takes incredible footage, was a massive step up for me when I went from the Spark to the Mavic Pro with the 4K footage, ability to crop and things like that. But it just doesn't compare anymore to the new Mavic Air 2. Things I love about the footage on this is the HDR video that it takes. 4K HDR brings out the shadows. If you don't know what HDR stands for, it's high dynamic range. It means it brings out the shadows and the highlights so you can get everything exposed nicely in your shot, which is great for me when I'm filming a climb and I'm on the route and you can see the background as well, because that's what I really want to portray with these drones, is this cinematic, really nice footage, and you can see all elements. There's no blown out highlights, there's no dark shadows. I don't have to do too much in post-production later on. Is the HDR footage is absolutely awesome for this, so that's what I've been filming most of my climbs in at the moment. Great color grade to the footage as well, very similar to the Mavic Pro. It is very sharp as well, so it allows me to crop in and I can still see really small details like crimping on little holds and things like that. So when I do talk through of the climbs, I can actually zoom into the footage, show the little crimps that I'm doing, show the moves that I'm doing, and actually the drone's been quite far away from me when I've been filming, which is pretty cool. The Mavic Air 2 also does 1080 in 120 and 240 frames per second. That is absolutely insane and allows you to get this incredible slow motion shots. I sent this out at T-Point a few weeks ago where there was crashing waves and we slowed the footage right down afterwards. It just looks absolutely amazing. I couldn't put it all into the B-roll footage at the start because it was just too much of it. But definitely something I'll be using for my B-roll in future is slowing that footage down and having really nice cinematic edge to it. Other differences with the Mavic Air 2 and other drones is the controller. So the new Mavic Air controller is obviously a lot bigger than other controllers. Kind of, this is what you're looking at here, is kind of the difference between the two. So the difference between the two is not that big, but one of the cool things I do like about this is you can take out the little joysticks. Look at that, it folds down so it's nice and thin and flat. Folds straight into the bag. If you buy the Fly More combo, you get this pretty nifty bag with it. One of the things I really like about this one is actually the antennas. They're built inside the controller, so there's no more flipping them up. I never knew which way to point them anyway. I would always like just point them up, and then it would be, I don't know, I would lose signal, and then the other way, and then the other way. Anyway, so rather than having these sticking up, they're actually inside the controller now, which is pretty cool. Other changes to the controller: you put your phone in the top, in there. All the usual controllers of the DJI drones, they're all very similar when it comes down to it with controlling the actual drone. It's just the features and benefits that you get out of it. One of the most awesome benefits that I get out of this drone with flying it and filming long routes and things like that is the new 34-minute battery life. Look at the size of the battery. How are we getting 34 minutes out of that bad boy? Normally, sport climbs only take for 6 to 8 minutes to climb normally. However, there are a lot of climbs in New Zealand that are super long, sometimes very technical, so you need to rest at certain points, so you might need 15 to 20 minutes to climb that route. The great thing about this is the 34-minute battery life. I have not had this drone conk out on me yet with battery life. I've always come down from the climb and it's still loads of battery life left. Absolutely love it. So never have to worry about that. Less stress while I'm climbing of thinking, am I gonna get the shots that I need? The battery life is absolutely key for me. So that's a lot smaller battery, which means you've got a lot smaller drone as well to carry around. So the difference in size is fairly considerable when you're carrying this around and you're a traveling rock climbing filmmaker. I definitely want my gear to be as small as possible. It's also a lot lighter, so less weight, more battery time, more frames per second of my 4K footage, and it also does 48 megapixel photos. So one of the really cool new functions of this is DJI have just gone absolutely nuts with the photos. I've never been that into taking photos with drones before. It's all been about the filming, getting the epic B-roll, filming me on climbs, doing the tracking and things like that. However, since I've got this and using the 48 megapixel photos, oh man, I've been having an absolute ball. Quality of the photos, absolutely brilliant. You stack it side by side with a photo taken from the Mavic Pro and you'll see a big difference in detail. You can crop into the photo a lot more. And also there's some really cool functions like shooting panoramas, shooting sphere photos. I've been really enjoying the panorama photos. It takes about 20 seconds for it to take a panorama. You don't have to stitch any photos yourself, and the quality of them is absolutely awesome. Sending it up in Waitomo and you've got that fog in the mornings because it's early winter here in New Zealand. Oh man, they just come out phenomenal. So I've been really enjoying that feature and really enjoying that it has the ability to take 48 megapixel photos, which also means it has the ability to do the 8K hyperlapse. So you would have all heard about this. DJI is really pushing this as one of their main benefits to this drone. I've been shooting some hyperlapses with it and I find it's really easy to do. It's easy to use. Basically you set a couple of waypoints and then it just heads off on its course. One of the downsides is it does take normally a full battery to get this. So what I've been doing is just stocking up whenever I'm kind of not using the drone to get any B-roll. Sometimes I just throw it up for 25 minutes and I'll take a hyperlapse just so I can hopefully use that as a little bit of B-roll later on, and also practicing with it to get better at it. 10 kilometers you can send this out. That is incredible. You can send this thing out 10 Ks. I don't know how you're gonna be able to see it from 10 Ks away. Maybe binoculars or something. Are you allowed to do that? I don't think so. I don't send it 10 Ks away. I don't send it any further away from me than normally the crag or getting my B-roll of a hill or a mountain or something. So maybe if you have a 102 license and you're sending it a long way away, this is a perfect drone for that. It goes so far and still stays within signal. One of the things I've found with the new Mavic Air 2 is its stabilization when it's flying around. Now, when I send this up, normally I'm sending it up, there's trees around and stuff like that. I have to kind of navigate around it. This one has been so responsive compared to what I'm used to with the Mavic Pro, which is it's still an awesome drone, but this one just feels smoother to fly. It's just a nicer piece of equipment. It's a great tool. So the new APAS technology that this thing has means that it avoids objects as it's following you, which is, it's good for me. I don't use it as much as others might. Maybe people that are wandering through trees and things like that. I've taken it on the usual walks that every other filmmaker has done that's had one of these drones that gets to do one of these reviews, and you wander around and it avoids trees and it does its thing, and that's awesome. Normally when I'm filming with this thing, it doesn't need to avoid the rocks. It just needs to lock onto me and track me, which it does really, really well. But make sure when you're doing the tracking, you have that APAS set on. So that it can use the sensors, and basically when it tracks you, if it does come close to the rock at all, it'll move out the way, it'll move around the rock, and it will keep tracking you. So we've had it in all different sorts of modes. We've had it in tracing mode, where it will just track you completely up the climb. We've also had it in what I call eyeball mode. Can't remember the technical terms of it, but basically there's a little eyeball. You set this up at what I normally do is at about the 3/4 point of the route, and I have it facing down at me. It tracks me then, and all it does is the camera will just follow me up. The gimbal will just, basically it tilts, and the tilt will be what tracks you all the way up, and this camera will also go above the 90-degree kind of horizontal point, so it will film you right to the top of the route, which I think is great, because a lot of the climbs in New Zealand are fairly short and bouldery, so we're talking like 15 to 17 meters long, and I can send it up to that kind of halfway or 3/4 point and film the entire climb. Just stays there in a steady position, just hovering, and just follows me up the route until I've filmed the whole thing. Means nobody has to really worry about it. Awesome, some great features. Really great that DJI are pushing the boundaries with this stuff, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us in the future. This thing is what I'm going to be using here on out. I don't know what to do with my Mavic Pro. This is kind of now my backup drone. Such a good bit of kit. Hey, maybe I'll give it away. What do you reckon? Do some sort of giveaway on the channel. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. Oh man, giving a Mavic Pro away. That's insane. As a photographer or a videographer, have you ever been out there and you filled your SD card up? You forgot your SD card? I do that all the time. I fill the SD card. I've been doing loads of shooting. I don't even think about it. In the morning, I get out there, I forgot my backup SD cards. I filled my one on my camera, and I'm like, no, if only my cameras had built-in memories. This thing has an 8 GB built-in memory, which has already saved me from having to come down from a route and not having the footage that I needed. So with the 8 GB memory, all it does is when it's filming, it fills the memory card. It basically gives you an option. It says, switch to the internal memory. You switch to it, you hit the record again, and you carry on recording. How awesome is that? It then records to an internal storage, which you can use later. So good. Love that function, DJI. Thank you so much, because you're saving me so much time and effort, and also being a bit of a muppet. The stabilization of this drone is freaking awesome. So, been using it for the last 4 weeks, and I have not had a problem with wind once. I've been sending this out in some really windy conditions, thinking, oh man, this is gonna get blown all over the place, and it just comes back every time with incredible footage, very stable. I've been following kiteboarders around and windsurfers. We had it out in 50 km/h winds, and it didn't move it. That's awesome. I love that. With my previous drones, I've had a little bit of problems before. When we were filming in Greece, we had a lot of wind, blew drones all over the place. Couldn't really get the footage that we wanted, so I don't know whether it's because it's smaller or whether it's because it's smoother. You see the smoother edges. It's definitely modeled more around the Mavic Pro 2, which is awesome. It just looks like a sleeker drone. Look at it. It's freaking awesome. What a weapon. Yeah, steady, really steady when I'm out there, and that's one of the key features that I need in a drone. I live in New Zealand where it's windy so much of the time, so I need it to be able to handle that, and it handles it perfectly. Brilliant, stoked. Me, this drone has blown the Mavic Pro out of the water. I should probably be talking about the Mavic Air 1, but I've never used one. But I have read a lot of reviews that this blows it completely out of the water. This is a kind of midway point between the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Pro 2, but it also has some great functions where the Mavic Pro 2 doesn't have. The 60 frames per second, the 48 megapixel photos. Does the Mavic Pro 2 have an internal memory? It's smaller than the Mavic Pro 2. It's got longer battery life than the Mavic Pro 2. This one suits me way better than something that might be a little bit more cinematic footage or smoother footage. The footage on this is still incredible. So it's the perfect drone for rock climbers. If you're gonna take this out, easy to use, long battery life, great footage, 4K, great photos. Man, I'm so happy with this drone. I was a bit skeptical when I first got it. I was like, I've got a Mavic Pro. It's a Pro. Air? You know, am I gonna be able to get the same stuff? And DJI said to me, you're gonna be happy with this thing. And I was. I'm stoked with it. So yeah, keep watching. If you want to see more climbing footage, check out some of my videos, see how I'm using this thing. I'm also going to run some tutorials about how I actually use this at the crag. Yeah, how you can use it the same as me to get awesome footage. One of the things I love about climbing footage and drone footage is it will pick up every single mistake that you make on a climb, which means you can critique yourself. I use this as a coaching tool more than anything. It's great for my channel, it's great for the videography, it's great for the B-roll, but mostly it's making me a better climber, to see me on the climb and I can basically get that feedback. Video doesn't lie, video doesn't forget things. You can watch yourself back and critique your climbing. So drone filming videos is freaking awesome, but remember what I said at the start, be courteous to other climbers, don't be a dick at the crag. If you are thinking about upgrading to the Mavic Air 2, there is a code in the description. If you're in New Zealand, you can get 5% off at DJI Ferntech. Thank you so much, Ferntech, for sending me this drone and allowing me this ability to give the reviews and use this amazing piece of equipment. So should you upgrade to the Mavic Air 2? I will leave that up to you. Check out the footage, see if what I get is similar to what you get on your drones, whatever you're using. If you have a Mavic Pro 2, I would say the only reason to sidestep to this sort of a drone would be longer battery life, the 60 frames per second in 4K footage if you were wanting to slow the 4K down, a smaller size, and that's about it. But if you were looking to upgrade from a Mavic Pro or a Mavic Air 1 or a Spark or anything like that, it's an absolute no-brainer. This thing is absolutely awesome. I don't think I will be going back to the Mavic Pro and using it much more. It is literally just going to stay as my backup drone in case something does happen to this guy. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit that like button, leave me a comment, and please subscribe, share the video, do whatever other YouTubers do. And it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today, and thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.